If you think you always tell the truth in your relationships, you might be surprised about what I'm going to talk about today, so keep watching. I'm Stacy Rocklein, and it's my mission to help people bring more love into their lives, to have more self-love, to have more love in their relationships, and to remove the blocks that are keeping the love that the universe is trying to send them from getting to them. Let's talk about truth in relationships. Let's just talk about telling the truth in general. We think we do this, because we don't outright lie, but sometimes we're doing something that's sort of the same, and that is omitting the truth, keeping it inside of us instead of saying it because we're not directly asked. So in our relationships, sometimes something happens and we're feeling a certain way, not in a good way. The other person has hurt us somehow, or we just really need to get something out off our chest, or it's bothering us anyway, because, if we don't talk about it, it's not going to get off our chest. But we have something inside us that is a truth that we decide not to share, not to tell. And I'm going to argue that is, it's not, I'm not going to call it lying, but it is really important that we do tell those truths. Now, sometimes we actually lie, and you're like, no, I never lie, but hold on. Sometimes our partner is very intuitive and knows something is wrong and asks us, hey, are you okay? Is something wrong? And we say, no, I'm fine. Or they're even more intuitive than that, and they say, hey, when I did this thing, did that bother you? And we hear come out of our mouths, no, it's fine. So we've actually lied in that case. How about when it's not between you and your partner, but a friend comes to you and says, you know what, I did this thing and I'm not sure. Do you think I handled it badly? And in our mind, we're screaming, yes, but we say, no, that's fine. You did great. Those are instances where we are keeping the truth from other people. And why? Why do we do that? Well, one reason is we don't want to hurt their feelings. We worry that what we're going to say is going to upset them, make them feel bad. And so we decide we'd just not say anything. Sometimes we're worried about our own feelings. We're scared that if we tell this truth, the reaction that comes back to us might be an unpleasant one that we don't want to go through. We don't want to experience that. So we just keep that to ourselves. Sometimes we don't want to rock the boat. We don't want anything to change. We fear that this truth that we have within us would just change everything. And we don't want to challenge the status quo. We want things to stay the way they are. And so we don't want to go through those experiences. And we keep it to ourselves. But what is the result of doing that? What is happening is that you're not living an authentic life. You're not being the authentic you. Your relationships are going to be limited by that because you're not totally showing up as who you really are and who the truth of who you are is. And when you keep doing that, you prevent relationships from having depth to them. They have to stay in a kind of like shallow surface way because you're not willing to really open yourself up for that connection. What can happen is when we do this over and over, it becomes a habit that we're strengthening. And maybe we're just doing it in this one particular relationship. But if you're doing this in one relationship, you're probably doing it in a lot of relationships. I'm speaking from experience. In your friendships, in your family, in your romantic relationships. And so what happens is you've got these surface-based friendships and relationships that they don't have that deep love connection that comes from telling your truth to other people. And then you end up with a lot of secrets that you are housing inside, They're in your inner world, and you're keeping them, and they're not going anywhere. They are in there energetically. The truths that you feel about your relationships, it's affecting your relationships. It's just the other person doesn't know yet, because you start protecting yourself in an effort to not feel those feelings again. And you're pulling back and you're pulling back and you're pulling back. And then you might start to feel like, gosh, this person doesn't even know me, right? And they might start to say to you, I feel like I don't even know you. And in my case, I had a very new friend who just wasn't going to tolerate it. And she started asking me challenging questions about how easy I was to get to know and about what my friendships were like. And I realized that, gosh, nobody knows me. And then I remembered how often people have said, you're really hard to get to know, Stacy. And that was true. And a lot of it was because I hadn't been willing to tell my truth. I hadn't been willing to risk hurting someone's feelings so that I was telling the truth. I hadn't been willing to upset the balance in order to be who I really was. So when you start telling the truth, you realize a couple of things. One thing you realize is the important relationships that really matter, those can weather it. Not only do they weather those experiences, but they come out stronger on the other side, because now you're connecting on a deeper level and you're really knowing each other, like who you are, all your truths, even the messy ones. That's a very happy result. The other thing is that you start to get really uncomfortable when you know that you're keeping a secret truth that you need to say. That starts to become very uncomfortable, and you begin to have to tell your truths all the time, which is a wonderful thing, as uncomfortable as it is, because on the other side of this new habit of telling the truth are authentic relationships and deep relationships and a connection, a love connection between you and other people that is really what we all want as humans, and is a magical and beautiful thing. But you have to take the first scary step, and you have to be willing to start telling your truth. And it's not easy. It's not easy, but everybody can do it. And the more you do it, the more you strengthen that new habit of telling the truth, the richer your life is. You start to remove the blocks that keep love from coming to you in the relationships you already have, in new relationships, and you start really living a love-based life. And that's what we all want, and that's what I want for you too. Thank you for watching, and if you liked, please let me know. If you've got a comment, I'd love to hear from you. And if you know of anybody who would benefit from hearing this, please share. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.